Do you want to deploy your VAPI assistant to a website? If the answer is yes, then this video is for you. By the end of this video, you will know how to deploy any VAPI assistant to any website. If you remember, in my previous video, we created a VAPI assistant which can tell you the weather updates instantly. So let's go back to the actual VAPI assistant and see what exactly it does. So we're in the VAPI dashboard, and I'm going to quickly show you how the assistant works. And after this, I'm going to show you how to deploy this agent to any website.
Hello, my name is Jessica. How can I assist you?
What is the weather in London?
One moment. The current temperature in London is 6 degrees Celsius. If you need more details about the weather, feel free to ask.
Okay, so this is pretty much the VAPI assistant that we created in my last video. And now what we're going to do is, instead of coming to the VAPI dashboard and then clicking on this button, we can actually integrate a similar button on our website, and then we can just click on it and it will call the agent. So how do we do this? So first things first, we need to create a new project in PyCharm. So I'm going to create a very basic one-pager website which demonstrates how to add the assistant into any website. So I've already created a project called VAPI Assistant Demo. So let's go ahead and create a file called app.py. And in here, we want to use Flask to create a very basic web application which has a single page. So let's import Flask and render template. So let's install Flask and then we can move on to the actual coding. Okay, the Flask package has been installed successfully, and now we can create a Flask application. So this is our Flask application, and we're going to have an index page which will basically return the index.html, which we're going to define shortly. So let's make this the index root, and after this we want to add a main function. So let's do this. So now we want to run this application. Let's set debug to true. And yeah, so next what we need to do is we need to define this index.html page. So let's create a new directory, which is going to be called templates. And then in here, we want to create an HTML file called index. And we can keep this as it is. And yeah, so let's just quickly run the application and see if it works. So this should create a completely blank one-page application. So let's click on this URL. And yeah, as you can see, it's a dummy page which doesn't contain anything. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to the VAPI dashboard again. And yeah, so from here, what we want to do is basically we want to go to the documentation section so we can see how to embed any assistant to any website. So you can see at the bottom left-hand corner, there is a help section. And if you click on that, you can see there is a menu which you can choose from. And yeah, so then we go to documentation. And from here, we want to search for widget. So let's search for widget. So let's pick the first option. So that's the web snippet. And yeah, so in here you can see steps for installation. And what we need to do is basically we need to copy this snippet of code, which actually makes the connection between our website and the VAPI assistant. So you can see that we need to provide two different basically identifiers. One of them is the assistant's ID, and then the other one is the API key. I'm going to explain you how to get these two identifiers very shortly. So let's copy this and let's go back to PyCharm. So we need to go to the index page, and then we need to paste the contents into the body section. So you can see we have the body tags. So let's paste this script in here. And now we need to basically get the assistant's ID and our public key. So how do we do this? So if we go back to VAPI, and yeah, so once you have an assistant, and what you need to do is you can just click on the assistant which you want to embed into your website. And after this, you need to copy the assistant's ID from here. So let's just copy this. Let's go back to PyCharm. And this is our assistant's ID. After this, we need to do the same for the API key. So how do we get the API key? Let's go back to vapi.ai. And from here, what we need to do is basically we need to go to the org settings. So if we expand this section, then you will see something called API keys. So let's click on it. And here you can see that we have private key and a public key. So let's click on the public key. And yeah, so you can see this is basically grayed out by default, but yeah, you can just copy it from here. So let's press on this button. And now we've copied our public key. So let's go back to PyCharm and let's basically paste the API key. All right. Okay, so now we have our assistant's ID and we also copied the API key. And what we can do is basically our application is still up and running. We haven't terminated it. So what we can do is we can basically go back to it and just refresh the page. So now you can see that we have a very nice green button right in the middle at the bottom of the page. And if we click on this button, then we should be able to connect to our assistant. So let's go ahead and do this.
Hello, my name is Jessica. How can I assist you?
What is the weather in Washington, D.C.?
One moment. The current temperature in Washington, D.C. is 12 degrees Celsius. If you need more specific weather details, feel free to ask.
How about the weather in London?
Hold on a sec. The current temperature in London is 6 degrees Celsius. If you need more information or details about the weather, just let me know.
So you can see that we have now successfully embedded our VAPI assistant into a website that we just created. So you can follow exactly the same approach and you can deploy any VAPI assistant to any website. So you can see how easy it is just by copying the web snippet from the VAPI documentation. And then it's basically about replacing the assistant ID with the assistant ID that you get from your VAPI dashboard. And you also need to basically put your API key in here. So additionally, you can play with the settings and the actual styling of this button. So you can see by default, it appears at the bottom of the screen, right in the middle. And for example, you can put the button in the bottom right hand corner or anywhere else on the page, depending on the website that you want to basically add this assistant to. And yeah, so that's pretty much the end of this video. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. If you want to get access to the full template behind this assistant, you can sign up to my school community. The link should be down below in the description. And yeah, thank you very much for your time and see you in the next video.